Welcome back to Marvelous Chats, everybody. My name is Hoffman.
I'm Finto.
And today we're talking about Boba Fett Episode 3. This is part of our entire Boba Fett series watch that we're doing here on the Marvelous Chats channel. Before we jump into it, if you're the first time here to this channel, make sure you subscribe. We have a podcast every Saturday we put out. We put out like Star Wars content in between, DCU content in between, everything nerdy. So make sure you're following, turn on the notification bells so you see when we post these videos. And let's talk about Boba Fett Episode 3. One of the most talked about episodes of Boba Fett that I think I've seen on the internet. Probably not for the best of reasons, but Finto, what's your how do you feel about Boba Fett Episode 3?
I was about to say it's getting talked about for all the wrong reasons. This episode for me was definitely the worst so far that we've seen. And I thought after how slow Episode 1 was, and they started to kind of revive it in Episode 2, I thought we'd be kind of on an upward spiral. But now basically we're on a downward spiral. It's just this is by far the worst episode of the season. You know, a couple of the main points that I took was I was so disappointed with the Black Chrysantha fight. It was just so bad. The biker gang, like they look like something out of Cyberpunk. Don't belong on Tatooine at all. I just they just seemed so out of place. Pacing of the episode was just so slow. The episode was short as well. Like, you know, it's just, I don't know, like, you know, and for 3 episodes, we're getting built up with flashbacks of the Tusken Raiders. And in this episode, we go to one quick flashback, and Boba's just walking towards the camp, and they're all dead. We don't see it. They die. They die off camera. I was gone. I was like, what is happening? This is crazy.
Yeah.
You know, go ahead.
Can I just jump there real quick? Because we spent 2 episodes, or an entire episode, last episode, episode 2, where it's like we learned about the Tusken Raiders forever, tried to get to know them, and we tried to know, like, you know, they introduced the Hutts to us, the twins of the Hutts, and all of a sudden, both of those people are gone. And we spent like 30 minutes getting to know both those parties, and they're just taken out of the series like that. They're like, "Oh, we're done now." Like, what? Why?
Yeah, I can't answer that. I don't know. Yeah, like, you know, did you have any like positives about the episode?
I think my biggest thing is, like, one, I think I like the Wookiee. He feels like a really cool character, right? Like, he feels awesome. He's big. He's intimidating. I really don't like what they did with him in the episode, but I love that his character is there, right? That was positive. I also really do enjoy the Pike Syndicate. I think those guys like kind of look menacing. It feels like there's a lot of stuff going on underneath the table with them, and I love the way they look. That was pretty much. Danny Trejo showing up. While it felt a little weird at times, seeing him is always like a personal treat. Seeing him pop up. He was the God, what do they call that big monster? It starts with an R. Rancor or something?
Rancor, yeah.
Rancor, yeah. He was like a Rancor trainer. That was pretty cool. Those are my positives. But like everything else was probably the worst thing I've seen in Star Wars since, like, you know, the sequel trilogy. Yeah. It was terrible, man. Every bit of goodwill that Jon Favreau has like built up for me, any bit of goodwill to episode 2 of this thing, which I thought they were like kind of correcting how the show was going, like they just like threw it out the window for me, because, you know, even when we meet the young Tatooine millennials, I felt like they were just weird and out of place, right? It felt so, you know, no offense to the CW network, it felt like a CW network show when they showed up. It didn't feel Star Wars. It doesn't feel grounded. Star Wars is always this like grounded, gritty sci-fi world, right? That's not, you know, it feels lived in, it feels worn, and nothing about those characters felt that way, man. I hated it.
Hated it as well. They just, like, characters like that might belong somewhere in Star Wars, like maybe Coruscant or something like that, like a futuristic planet. Like, Tatooine is a desert planet, and it's like, you know, spread in poverty and everything. Like, it just didn't make any sense to have cyborgs in the city, and like to talk as well about that, like, the chase that they had through the city towards the end. It was some of the worst shit I've ever seen. Like, some of the worst shit that has ever been in Star Wars. It was it was pathetic. It really was.
Yeah.
It was shocking. It was terribly shot. It looked like the little Vespas were going 5 miles an hour. Like the part where they jumped out, where they jumped on the bikes, genuinely looked like a scene from a Power Rangers show or something like that.
Yep.
It genuinely did. It was absolutely outrageous. Why Boba Fett didn't fly after the car and just sit in it or something, like, we got to see the jetpack this episode, and I was like, okay, cool, Boba's doing something. And then, like, the whole episode, and I've heard a lot of people talking about this today. I've been listening to a few people's thoughts on it, and everyone's got the same notion. Like, it's like Boba is doing nothing in the show. This is a show.
Nothing.
It's a show about Boba, and he's doing nothing. He doesn't even beat BK himself. You know, like, and I know he gets, like, he doesn't have his armor, and he gets kind of thrown off. But at the same time, I thought, and it was a really good part where they could have really shown his fighting skill, to where he gets taken out of the tank, has no armor on or anything, but is still, with his, like, fight sense and stuff like that, and his skills, able to overcome BK, which would have been great.
It would have been, and like, honestly, the way they had that fight go down, it just didn't feel like he was in this reality of Star Wars that we have come to know. Like, there is no way when BK, this huge Wookiee, has got him in like a bear hug, like, his back should be done, man.
Yeah.
Like, we've seen Wookiees rip arms off like it was nothing, and all of a sudden, like, he's hand to hand with Boba Fett, and he's got him in his grips, and, like, doesn't even hurt him at all. Like, it makes zero sense. And you're right, Boba Fett's done nothing. He has almost no agency. The only thing he's done is, like, do that train heist, right? But in terms of, like, the modern day that we're when he has all his armor and gadgets and stuff, he's literally, when he was surrounded by shields, those shield assassins, he had to have his, like, orc henchmen come save him. Yeah. When he was fighting BK, he had to have the young his new people come save him.
Yeah.
He's done nothing to show himself as, like, a badass that can get out of sticky situations. Like, yes, is this a Wookiee who can overpower him? Sure, absolutely. Maybe he has something where it's like, like jujitsu or whatever, where it's like big people take punches at you and you use their strength against him, right?
Yeah.
He just goes to, like, grab that gun and takes like 30 seconds to try to get the gun loaded. It don't even get me started on why BK is there in the first place. How did this big ass Wookiee get past all these, like, 5 new gang members he's got, the assassin, his right hand woman, and the 2 orc guys, and the other, like, how does he get in there?
Boba really needs to up his security. Because he's not the first person. Like, BK's not the first person to get in there either.
Right.
So it's just, I don't know, dude. Like, it's ridiculous.
And, like, do the Hutt show him, like, a secret path? Like, tell him about, like, a secret way into the mansion or whatever. Like, maybe, but let's see that. Let's show us that scene. Let's see that so we get it, because it feels ridiculous. And then the resolution to that. He just happens to be standing over the trap door that they've used, like, 3 times in the show now.
I know.
Like, and, like, if you just look at the way the dialogue is delivered, where Michelle Yeoh, I think her name is, she just runs up out of nowhere. It's like, move out of the way, everyone.
Yeah.
It's just like, what? Like, what is this, man? It's terrible.
Crazy. Crazy. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I just find there was nothing for me in this episode. Nothing. Like, even the whole stuff with the Rancer, where they were saying, like, the Rancor, sorry, when they're saying, like, the Rancor is, like, an emotional, complex creature. I'm just like, what? Like, I'm finding it hard to put it into words right now how I feel about this, because I've tried to be nice. But what I really feel is happening is, Disney are Disneyfying Star Wars, and they're, like, dumbing it down. They've tried to change the name of Slave One. They're kind of dumbing down Boba's kind of, like, powers and his aggression, and now they're making Rancors emotionally complex creatures that are like dogs, and they imprint on you and all this stuff. Like, it's like in Return of the Jedi, when you saw that Rancor for the first time, it was like, that was just pure terror, and Luke is fighting for his life to get out. Now it's like, they're pets, and it's like a dog, and it imprints on you and all this stuff. And I'm just like, I just, it's not for me. I have no interest in it whatsoever. I have high hopes that at the end of the end of the season, like episodes 5, 6, and 7 are going to be really good. I think there's going to be some kind of connectivity between the rest of the Filoni verse, we'll call it. But right now, first 3 episodes have been really bad. Episode 4, I'm not going to hold any high hopes for episode 4 as well. Maybe like the last 5 minutes, we might get a cameo or something. A lot of people throwing around Crimson Dawn as potentially being like running the pikes, and potentially even like because during the scene where the twins say that they're getting off Tatooine, and they're like, I think you should do the same because there's a big bad in town, that you don't want to have to fight. And I think that might be like Cad Bane running like Crimson Dawn or something like that. Is the
Darth Maul's gonna, Darth Maul's showing up. They're taking that away from Obi-Wan, bro.
You think he's not dead again? Because like Obi-Wan killed him. Yeah,
I don't know. I imagine he shows up.
I think Rebels is canon. And
is it?
Yeah, I believe so. Because that's where we're getting like Bo-Katan from and all this stuff, like, So I think it is canon, and I think Obi-Wan like has killed him already, so I don't think so. But I think Crimson Dawn, I think we're gonna get Kira, your one Emilia Clarke's character. I think she might come back, like an older version of her. And then that could lead to Han Solo potentially as well, because he went out. He obviously had a relationship with her before he got with Leia, so it would kind of make sense for them to kind of come back together. But I don't know, like again, we're kind of just speculating here. I've no idea what's going to happen, but something really needs to happen.
It does, and like they again, like 2 things. When the Hutts were like, you should get off this planet too. Tatooine's just a shithole. Like, yeah, like why does Boba Fett care so much about Tatooine? Like, this is like a crap planet. Like, who cares who runs the crime syndicate here, Boba Fett? So I hope they show us why he cares so much about this. If it's because he lost all the Tusken Raiders, then like I don't understand the big deal there. Why that be so important? And then they still I don't think they've shown us the main thrust for the show. Why do we care so much about this? It's like in The Mandalorian, it's he finds young Grogu. Like, that's the reason for the show, is because he finds this force sensitive baby Yoda character who hasn't been seen forever, and he makes a connection, and he wants to keep him safe no matter what and find him a home.
Yeah.
That's the thrust for the show.
Yeah.
What is it for Boba Fett? Because we're 3 episodes into it, and I don't know why I'm watching this. I don't know what the goal of this entire thing is. Like, is it to become the guy, the crime syndicate overlord of Tatooine? Yeah. It feels like we've already done that. He just hasn't secured it, and it feels weak. It feels weak.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think, half of me thinks that this is just a kind of cash grab slash kind of something to keep the schedule, like to fill the schedule. Yeah. Like Disney Plus are trying to have something on the air every Wednesday, and I think that's the plan. And I think that's why maybe they've stretched this out to 7 episodes, because I predict that we're going to get Moon Knight after this, and it's going to be every single Wednesday there's something new on Disney Plus. I think that's kind of what they're doing, and I think this is just, there's not really a crazy story to tell, but we've got time to kill in between Obi-Wan and Mando season 3, so let's put out a 7 episode thing on Boba Fett.
There's such a good story that's like just waiting here, though. Like, as much like there is such a good story they could be telling and creating, and I don't know why it feels so lazy that they have a tiny nugget of a story and they stretch it out over like 6 episodes.
Yeah,
when they could be like shaping the Star Wars universe. Like, is it because they don't want to disrupt what's in between episode 6 and 7? Is that why? Like, let's get out of there then. Let's leave it behind. Let's go to a new time period, and let's start creating new stuff, because it just feels lame. Like, the story feels lame.
It does. Like I just hope it gets better. We're 3 episodes in now. Like, we kind of at the halfway point next week, and I still see it being, a 6 out of 10 at best. That's me being very kind to it right now. Yeah,
the episode's a 4 out of 10 for me, bro. Like, I struggled to get through it. I said out loud to my girlfriend, I'm like, I'm so done with this. It's when the young girl stabbed the Wookiee BK.
Yeah.
When she stabbed him, I said, I'm so fucking done with the show, dude. Like, they took that moment away from Boba Fett. they made this Wookiee seem like he doesn't know what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like what, this guy doesn't bring, like he's going to assassinate Boba Fett, one of the most dangerous people in the universe, apparently, allegedly, because we haven't seen it now.
Yeah.
And he only brings like like electrical brass knuckles. That's what he brings. Like,
which when he hits Boba with them would have knocked Boba stone cold out. Like the
Oh
power of
my
a
God.
Wookiee, electricity, knuckle duster, like, you know, gone, dead. Like, you know,
Yep.
Boba's, I don't care who Boba is, he's dead. Like, you know,
It's
and
so
yes,
weird, bro.
it was just very strange. And then like at the end when he just lets BK go, and then BK just runs off into the distance. Like, what? That was just so ridiculous. I was like, oh, there he goes. He's off like on a little jog through the desert. Like, I'm like, what is happening?
And why do they keep showing flashbacks to Camino when we watch Boba Fett's dad fly? We've seen that same shot like 4 times now. It feels like
I know.
they keep showing it. Like, what's the purpose of that?
I
Explain yourself.
I
Please.
really don't know. I don't know if they're like trying to plant the seed of Camino, because maybe in other shows, like I'm thinking that they'll use the same actor who plays Boba, because he's obviously the clone. So I'm thinking that they're going to use him to play like an older Rex or an older Cody in like Obi-Wan or something like that, or Ahsoka, because they're those characters are very close to Ahsoka. And if I'm being 100% honest, right now I would prefer to see him play those roles than play Boba Fett. Like that's where I'm at. Like, I want to see Cody. I want to see what's his name, Rex and Cody. You know, like, because they were so close to Obi-Wan and everything, and I just think, you know, that would just be way better. Like a DH version of him now showing up in Obi-Wan would like sell me so much more than this 6 or 7 episodes, which is, you know, crazy. I didn't have very high hopes for this show to begin with. I didn't know what it was going to be about. I've heard a couple of rumors, and I'm thinking if these do happen, it'll end very strong and be good. But at the moment, I've no expectation. I've no hope that it's going to end well. I'm praying that it does, because it's really hurting an already very sensitive fan base. You know, like everyone is going crazy at how bad this is.
Yeah, because I you know, after the sequel trilogy, I was demoralized about Star Wars. Mandalorian was cool. And then the second season came, and then they ended it the way they did with Luke and stuff. And I was like, oh my God, like this could be really amazing.
Yeah.
I love like this little mini universe they're building for Disney Plus could be awesome as hell. And Boba Fett episode 3 single-handedly has taken all the wins out of my sails for it, because it didn't feel like Star Wars. It felt like, you know, Shark Boy and Lava Girl, like that. Like, what was I watching?
Yeah.
What was I watching?
It was crazy. Crazy.
Because they're ruining so much. Like now, every time you go back and watch the original trilogy, you're not gonna be able to watch Boba Fett like a badass.
Yeah.
Like I'm not. Like but it's
And
just a guy who kind of got lucky.
in that original trilogy, like Boba, and I've said this before, like Boba doesn't do anything either. Like, you know, I know he has books and legends and stuff, but like, sure, all legends has been retconned. He's got a couple of like stories in comics and stuff, but you know, again, I don't really know too much about that. You know, I just
everyone's like, well, you don't really know Boba Fett because you only got to see him on screen for like 5 minutes. I'm like, yeah, but in the extended universe, there is a lot of information about Boba Fett and a lot of really great stories where he is a fucking badass, right? Like he's a badass.
Yeah.
And I know those aren't canon anymore. And so Disney's like going their own way with it, and that's fine. But they're making a worse Boba Fett. Like you're making a character worse than they did in the extended universe. Like there's a better version of him out there, and those don't go away, whether they're canon or not.
Yeah.
We know that version of Boba Fett, and Disney is making a worse version of that, and it's not working.
Exactly. 100%. Yeah, I've got nothing else to say about this episode, so, you know, I think I pray next week when we come back and we talk about this again, I pray we have something good to talk about, you know.
Yes.
Because it's hard to it's not hard to have a conversation with you about it, but it's hard to care about the content, you know.
Yeah, it's hard to be excited about it. It's like, because like I don't want to come on here and rag about it. Like I want to come here and be excited about Star Wars.
100%.
I want to come and talk about how awesome it is and all the connections they're making, and how this relates to that, and how cool it is that this scene did that. Not this. Like I don't want to come on here complaining about multicolored motorbikes on Tatooine that have zero wear and tear on them. Like I don't need that in my life. Please.
Crazy. Guys, thank you for watching the video. I've been Finto.
This is Hoffman here.
Have a good one. See you in the next
Later,
one.
everybody.
Bye.